Ladies and gentlemen, a powerful hook. There comes a moment in every life when the world becomes too loud, too demanding, too heavy, and in that moment, your greatest strength will not come from fighting harder, but from stepping back, healing in silence, and returning with a power the world never saw coming. True healing happens in silence, because silence is the only space where you can hear the truth of your own life without the interference of other voices, expectations, or judgments. When you are constantly surrounded by noise, whether it is the noise of other people's opinions, the noise of your own worries, or the noise of the world's demands, you lose touch with the deeper part of yourself that knows exactly what you need. Silence becomes the sanctuary where your emotions finally have room to breathe. It is the place where pain can surface without being rushed, where confusion can unravel without pressure, and where your inner wisdom can rise without being overshadowed. Most people try to heal by staying busy, by distracting themselves, by explaining their hurt to others, or by seeking validation for their struggle. But healing does not respond to noise, it responds to presence. And presence comes from quietness. In silence you stop pretending. You no longer have to appear strong, composed, or unbothered. You shed the masks you wear to function in the world. You meet yourself honestly, even if what you find is messy or painful. This honesty becomes the birthplace of genuine restoration. Silence gives you permission to slow down, to pause long enough to understand what actually hurt you, what you truly feel, and what your spirit is asking for. It allows you to listen to the whispers that get lost in the chaos. Whispers of exhaustion, of forgotten dreams, of inner wounds long ignored. Without quietness, these whispers remain unheard, and healing remains incomplete. True healing also requires solitude, because the deepest parts of your soul are not meant to be processed in public spaces. Sharing too much too soon can interfere with your natural emotional process. You may be influenced by reactions, comments, or opinions that pull you away from your own truth. Silence protects your vulnerability. It builds a safe internal space where you can reorganize your thoughts, release old pain, and rebuild your energy without being watched, judged, or misunderstood. It is in this quiet space that forgiveness begins, acceptance unfolds, and clarity rises. Healing in silence strengthens your connection to yourself. Instead of scattering your energy outward, you gather it inward. You reclaim pieces of yourself that were lost in stress, heartbreak, or disappointment. You learn to comfort yourself, to trust yourself, and to guide yourself. You return to the source within you that is whole, steady, wise, and untouched by external noise. Silence becomes the bridge that brings you back to yourself, allowing the healing to be deeper, cleaner, and more authentic than anything the outer world could offer. Silence brings clarity and realignment because it removes the distractions that cloud your perception and distort your inner truth. When life becomes overwhelming, the mind gets tangled in noise, responsibilities, fears, past hurts, future worries, and the constant pressure to meet expectations. In that state, it becomes difficult to see things as they truly are. Silence functions like clearing a fogged window. It allows your inner vision to sharpen. When you step into quietness, you detach from the external world long enough to observe your thoughts instead of reacting to them. You start hearing what you actually feel rather than what you think you are supposed to feel. This separation between truth and mental noise is where clarity begins. Silence invites you to slow down your mental pace, creating space for insights that cannot emerge in chaos. Many people look for answers outside, advice from others, opinions, distractions. But the most accurate guidance always arises from within, and inner guidance needs quietness to speak. In silence, your priorities begin to reorganize themselves naturally. What once seemed urgent becomes irrelevant, and things you overlooked start revealing their importance. You begin to understand which situations drain you and which environments nourish you. You see relationships more honestly. Some bring peace, while others exhaust your spirit. Realignment occurs when you stop living in reaction to life and begin living in response to your inner wisdom. Silence brings that shift. It reminds you that your life does not have to be shaped by external noise, but by internal truth. You start to feel what resonates with your soul and what disturbs your peace. You see where you have been forcing things, where you have been resisting growth, and where you have been allowing fear to make your choices. Silence also reconnects you with your intuition, the part of you that knows without explanation. Intuition becomes clearer when the mind is quiet because it rises from a deeper place than thought. In the silence, you sense direction, purpose, and alignment with the path you were meant to walk. Decisions stop feeling like battles and begin to feel like natural movements. You realize that the answers you seek are not somewhere far away. They have always been within you, waiting for you to slow down enough to notice. Silence aligns your energy, your thoughts, and your emotions. It brings your scattered pieces back into harmony. It grounds you. It steadies you. It guides you back to the version of yourself that knows what is right, what is healthy, and what is truly meant for you. You don't need to explain your pain because your healing journey is an inner process that does not require public permission, validation, or approval. Pain is deeply personal, shaped by your history, your emotions, your experiences, and the silent battles that no one else has witnessed. When you try to constantly explain what you are going through, you often end up diluting your truth or bending it to match what others understand, and most people only understand from the limits of their own perspective. Not everyone has the capacity to grasp the depth of what you carry, and not everyone is meant to. There is a sacredness to personal struggle that becomes weakened when you expose it to opinions, judgments, or misunderstandings. Some people may try to minimize what you feel, some may compare it to their own pain, and others may dismiss it entirely, not because your experience is small, but because they cannot see your inner world. Protecting your pain is an act of self-respect. There is also a quiet strength in choosing not to broadcast your suffering. When you stop seeking external validation for your struggle, you reclaim your power. You stop relying on whether others acknowledge your pain and instead begin acknowledging it yourself. You allow your feelings to exist without needing them to be justified. Healing becomes more honest because you are no longer shaping it for an audience. When you carry pain silently, it does not mean you are suppressing it. It means you are giving it the privacy it needs to be understood by the one person truly capable of understanding it, you. Silence gives your pain room to expand, be felt, and gradually release. It allows you to process emotions at your own pace, without being rushed, questioned, or corrected. Explaining your pain also opens the door to unnecessary emotional labor. You start defending your feelings, clarifying your intentions, or trying to make someone see what they may never be ready to see. This drains your energy and pulls you out of the inner work that healing requires. You are not obligated to make others agree with you, understand you, or support you. Some people simply lack the awareness, empathy, or sensitivity to meet you where you are, and that is okay. Your journey is not meant to be driven by their understanding. Real healing happens when you stop performing your pain and start experiencing it genuinely, quietly, and privately. In choosing silence, you honor the depth of what you feel without handing it over to a world that may not know what to do with it. Withdrawal is not weakness because stepping back is often the most powerful decision a person can make when their mind, spirit, or emotions feel overwhelmed. Society teaches people to stay visible, keep pushing, and constantly prove themselves, but real transformation does not happen in the spotlight. It happens when you allow yourself to retreat from noise, pressure, and expectations long enough to understand what your soul is asking for. Pulling away does not mean giving up. It means creating space to breathe, to reflect, and to rebuild yourself without interruption. When you withdraw, you are not running from life. You are choosing to meet life from a place of strength rather than exhaustion. The world may see withdrawal as stepping back, but in reality it is stepping inward, and stepping inward is where true power grows. There are seasons in life when everything feels heavy, where your heart feels tired or your mind feels cluttered. These are the moments when forcing yourself to stay present in places that drain you only deepens the wound. Withdrawal becomes a form of self-protection, a way of telling yourself that you deserve rest, clarity, and healing. Just like nature, which retreats in winter to bloom again in spring, you too need periods of retreat to reset your energy and regain your direction. A caterpillar vanishes into a cocoon before becoming a butterfly, and that disappearance is not failure. It is transformation in progress. In the same way, your quiet phases are not signs of weakness, but signals that something inside you is preparing to grow. When you step back, you begin to see things differently. You recognize which responsibilities are genuine and which are self-imposed. You understand which relationships nourish your spirit and which ones drain your peace. This clarity cannot be gained while you are constantly moving, constantly reacting, or constantly proving. Withdrawal slows you down enough to see truth clearly, and with truth comes strength. It allows you to let go of what no longer aligns with your spirit, and letting go is one of the bravest acts a person can perform. It requires courage to break patterns, distance yourself from emotional noise, and choose inner peace over external approval. People often confuse withdrawal with weakness because they only value visible strength. But the strongest people in life are the ones who know when to pause, when to rest, and when to protect their energy. Stepping back is an act of maturity, wisdom, and deep self-respect. It is choosing long-term strength over temporary appearances. Withdrawal is not the end of your journey. It is the preparation for the version of you that will re-emerge more focused, more grounded, and more aligned than ever before. The world often only sees the outcome of your transformation, not the inner battles you fought to reach that point. And this is why your comeback reveals your strength in a way nothing else can. People may see you rise, but they rarely understand the quiet nights you spent wrestling with doubt, fear, heartbreak, or exhaustion. They see confidence, but they do not see the moments you questioned whether you would ever feel whole again. They see growth, but they do not see the healing that had to happen in silence, the choices you made when no one was watching, or the resilience you built piece by piece. A comeback is powerful precisely because it is born from struggles that you endured without praise, support, or applause. It is the result of work that happened inside you long before it showed on the outside. When you go through difficult seasons, it's easy to believe that your strength is measured by how much you can endure publicly, but real strength is built privately. It's built in those moments where you choose hope even when everything feels hopeless, or when you choose to keep going even when giving up seems easier. Strength grows in solitude, in perseverance, in the quiet commitment to rebuild yourself even when no one else can see your progress. And when you finally rise, that rise carries a depth that only you can fully understand. It's a strength that doesn't need validation because it was forged without it. Your comeback is also a reminder that you are capable of more than you once believed. When life brings you to your knees, you discover parts of yourself you never knew existed. Inner resilience, hidden courage, a deeper wisdom. You learn to trust yourself more because you realize that even in your lowest moments, you didn't abandon yourself. You kept showing up even if it was slowly, even if it was painfully. And this is why coming back stronger feels different from merely succeeding. Success can be accidental, but a comeback is intentional. It is a decision to rise, a decision to heal, a decision to rebuild what was broken. As you come back, the world notices your transformation, but they won't understand what it took to get there. They won't understand the tears, the silence, the fear you had to overcome, or the inner work that reshaped you. But you will. You'll carry that understanding like a quiet power inside you. You'll walk differently, think differently, and feel differently because you have earned your strength. And the beauty of a true comeback is that it doesn't just change how the world sees you. It changes how you see yourself. You owe yourself your own restoration because no one else can fully understand the depth of your inner world, your emotional landscape, or the quiet places within you that hold both your wounds and your potential for healing. People may support you, encourage you, or care for you, but they cannot walk into the private corners of your heart where your fears, disappointments, hopes, and dreams live. Only you can do that, and because only you can reach those places, you are the one responsible for tending to them. Healing is a personal responsibility, not because others don't care, but because true restoration requires a level of self-awareness and self-compassion that cannot be outsourced. When you choose to take responsibility for your healing, you reclaim your power. Instead of waiting for someone to fix you, save you, or understand you perfectly, you turn inward and begin giving yourself the care, patience, and presence you need. Restoration begins when you stop abandoning yourself during difficult seasons. Many people run from their emotions, distract themselves, or place their healing in the hands of others. But real growth happens when you sit with your own pain long enough to understand it. You begin to see where you need boundaries, where you need forgiveness, where you need rest, and where you need courage. You realize that healing is not about erasing your past, but transforming your relationship with it. And only you can decide how that transformation unfolds. You become your own protector, your own guide, and your own comfort. This inner responsibility is not a burden, it is a profound act of self-love. When you take ownership of your healing, you also learn to stop depending on the world for emotional survival. You stop expecting others to fill the emptiness, validate your worth, or repair the damage done by old wounds. You begin to understand that your peace is too sacred to place in someone else's hands. You start nurturing yourself with healthier thoughts, better choices, and environments that nourish your soul instead of draining it. You listen to your body when it's tired, to your heart when it's hurting, and to your intuition when it's guiding you. This kind of responsibility strengthens you. It teaches you discipline, patience, and resilience. It teaches you how to rebuild without needing permission or applause. Over time, taking responsibility for your healing becomes empowering. You no longer feel like a victim of circumstances, but a creator of your own emotional freedom. You recognize your worth, honor your needs, and treat yourself with the gentleness you once expected from others. You realize that the quality of your life improves when you improve your relationship with yourself, and that restoration is not a gift someone gives you. It is a gift you learn to give yourself.